Hello friends, it's Kathy Clement with Kathy by Design. Welcome to Wonderful Wednesday. I do this weekly series of free tutorials to educate and inspire you to get into your stash of paper goodies and make something beautiful. This is the last Wednesday in July 2025, and all this month we've been working with paper rose, bees, and butterfly basics. Because it is a fifth Wednesday, this is our wild card Wednesday where I do a home decor project, and I will show you what we are making. This is a decorative box with a shaker top. I've got some Rene Bouquet's bees and beehives, some beautiful little birdies flowers, buttons and burlap from my stash, little twine bows. I mean, this is just the sweetest. And it has this really cute little drawer pull and metal feet and burlap trim all the way around all four sides. It's made with this collection, and I just love the way it turned out. And on the inside, I've got a treasure trove of bee-themed goodies. I've created this little 5.5 by 5.5 folio. This is super fun. This is layering together cutouts and stuff from the paper collection, along with some charms and buttons from my stash. And it's only 5 by 5, but it's pretty loaded. The first page has this sweet little flip where you've got room to add a little photo and a little comment. Sweet little pocket with photo mats. This pulls out. This is a 4-page photo folio. It goes in this little hidden pocket. This flips open. We've got a kinetic waterfall. I just love making these. And here's a really sweet little circular photo mat. And this page folds out. There's another little photo mat here with flip for hidden journaling and another flip here for photo and more journaling. So you can get quite a bit. This would be a really fun way to do like a picnic photos or birthday photos. Just really special. So it's got this little ribbon closure. The ribbon is from Really Reasonable Ribbon. And inside the box, I've created a really fun tea party. We've got a jar of Spanish forest honey. We have this precious little demi-tasse spoon. So pretty. I put in a little Post-it note book that you can keep on hand to write down those last-minute grocery lists. A double packet of Biscoff cookies. A honey dipper to go with the honey jar, a whole box of lemon ginger tea bags, and this seed packet so you can plant some flowers for the bees. So it's a really fun little themed project. I'm going to show you how to make it in the tutorial that follows. Now, this is Wildcard Wednesday, but it's also Happy Birthday Wednesday to me. This is my birthday today. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I will tell you that the first president I was ever old enough to vote for was Jimmy Carter. So you can do the math on that and see if you can figure that out. That's a fun little challenge. Of course, when you use all these goodies up, you can keep anything in the box. I think it'd be fantastic for spools of thread in your craft room. I read the J.R.R. Tolkien Hobbit books to my kids over and over and over again when they were growing up. And one of the things that the Hobbits did that I loved was if it was your birthday, you gave gifts to everybody. So I have a giveaway today, a really fantastic giveaway, and it's bee themed to go with our theme of the month. I have 16 sheets of 6 by 6 bees and butterfly paper and 3 yards of this really pretty burlap twine. I have a package of little birdie flowers. I put together some of my favorite embellishments in here, little wooden icons, this really pretty clock cabochon so you can dress up your cards. Whole package of Rene Bouquet bees, 2 of them in fact, to go with this paper collection. I threw in a couple of my favorite little beehives and some pretty little butterflies that look great with the collection too. You're going to get 8 card bases and matching envelopes, 2 yards of antique lace, 4, 5, 6 stick pins, because you also get 16 sheets of A2 cardstock that I've cut to match the paper collection, 8 graphic 45 craft tags, 8 doilies, 4 in white, 4 in craft, 2 binder clips, and this one is holding a bag full of bee and sunflower charms and some really pretty honey-colored rhinestone flatback gems and a whole package of already threaded vintage black buttons. So this comes with, and then my longtime follower, Stacy, heard it was my birthday and she wanted to participate in this giveaway. So she sent a very special, like super gorgeous pen. These are collectible pens. She sent one to me for my birthday as well. So I'll show you mine. Look at this pen. Like, these are stunning. So this is part of the giveaway. Not mine, but I'll give you one for you. The thing I love about these is they can sit on your desk in this nifty little holder. I love that. And it comes with a whole little insert packet that tells you all about the pen company and why these pens are so special. So that's the giveaway. How do you win? All right, here are the rules. Number 1, you have to live in the continental United States, because to ship internationally, I'm really sorry. I love all my international followers, but I just can't afford international postage. Number 2, you have to be subscribed to my YouTube channel, and you have to be someone who has commented, you know, frequently. I don't want you just signing up so you can get in on the giveaway. I'm giving this to the people. This is my way of saying thank you for all your support and encouragement. I recently passed 15,000 subscribers on my channel, so I just thought my birthday would be a nice opportunity to give back to a community that has made my crafting experience so much fun. I'll announce it on our tag of the month for August. I'll announce the winner and I'll tell you how to contact me at that point. So now if you're ready, now that we've got the giveaway, we'll get down to the tutorial for this super fun box. So don't go away. Preliminary things I want to do before we really get started on this box. And because I want to put feet on it, I need to create a false bottom on this box, because you can't put the feet here. If you do, the drawer is going to clip them. So the bottom is 6.5 by 6.5. I took 2 pieces of chipboard. These are, I don't know, I guess they're 1 millimeter each. Yeah. And I cut them to 6.5 by 6.5. And we're just going to glue them together. You could go with 3 if you wanted to, but I think 2 is going to be enough. I'm just going to glue these 2 pieces together. And then, because I don't want a raw edge, I'm going to wrap these. So I'm going to put some glue down. And I'm using my big glue bottle just because I want the glue to come out quickly. I'll pull out my precision glue press when we get to that point. All right. So this is an 8. I think I did 8 by 8. Yes. This is an 8 by 8 piece of 80-pound cardstock. This is Old Authentique, which is a good brand, but any 80-pound will do. I just happen to have this in my stash, and I'm trying to use it up because my closet's getting kind of full. I'm just going to take my stylus and go around the edges to kind of prepare that paper to bend. All right. And then I'm going to bring in my little corner tool. Oops. And lay it on my corner. Draw a line with my pencil. This helps me get my corners just so. I've done it so much I can actually just do it with a scissor, but if you haven't done as many album covers and everything as I have, this tool is a real lifesaver. It always marks it in the right spot. So then we're just going to come in with scissors and we're going to cut on these little pencil lines. And I'm cutting on the inside of the line because I know I have plenty of room to spare. Just going to turn this one in a little bit closer. Okay. Now I can bend. And I'm literally just bending it against my work table. All right, now I'm going to come in, put my adhesive all along. So this is just wrapping a panel. This is something that is so handy, and it's good to know. It's a good skill to have in your toolbox. Okay. So I've got my bone folder. I'm going to press into those sides to make a nice, neat edge. Press this down. I'm going to come down to the opposite side and do the same thing. Now, you see how you've got these little nibs? Just take the end of your bone folder and press those down and in. And this way you get a nice, neat corner and you don't get that little sticking out nib. All right, so it just makes a beautiful square corner. All right. So that was pretty easy, right? And just going to seal everything down really well. And this glues on to the bottom of our box. And see, now we have something that we can attach our legs to. And we won't do that till the very end, but I wanted to add this before we got there. Okay. And then just turn this and let it sit for a while, let that glue set up, and that's how you make a false bottom on one of these book boxes. The next preliminary is the shaker window, which is a little bit tricky, but I've cut 2 pieces of acetate. Now I did mine 4x4, but I think you'd be better off going 4.5 by 4.5 because our window opening is 3.5 by 3.5. I put score tape on the edges. I'm going to bring this in underneath and just press it into place. But I'm just going to take a few You can't really use anything dimensional in here, because if you do, I'm going to try these itty tiny beads that I have in there, but I don't know. That might be a bad decision. And that's all I'm going to put there. And then I have another piece, and I'm going to do the same thing with score tape, and I'm going to put it over this, and that's going to be our little shaker window into the box. Now that we have our acetate down, we're going to add our base. And these are the side pillars are 1 3/8 by 6 3/8, and we'll put those down first. And I'm not inking or anything. I don't really feel the need to. Definitely when you cut your acetate, go ahead and go 4 1/2 by 4 1/2. This is just our base paper. All right. So these I'm just going to put down and lay over one another. So you see we've got this little shaker window in here. That's pretty cute. And these, of course, are going to be 6 3/8. And the width is going to be, let's go ahead and go 3 1/8. So 6 3/8 by 3 1/8, and you're going to need 2 of those. I've got my drawer inside the box, and I've cut 2 pieces that are 6 1/8 by 2 7/8. And these are going to cover the front and the back of the box. This next step will be lining the inside of the box, but before we do that, we want to add our little drawer pull on the front. So I've done a 5 7/8 by 2 5/8 piece of my 6 by 6 paper, and I've got this really cute little drawer pull. I got these from Butterbee Scraps. I think they've gone out of, everybody's going out of business. I don't know what the deal is, but I'm going to put this here. I actually have screws somewhere to go through it, but before I put the screws, I'm going to add glue. And this is why I want to do the outside of the box before we line the inside, because this way the screw holes are covered up on the inside of the box. So I just want this pretty much centered. So that's 2 1/4, and that's, so I need to go this way just a little bit. Perfect. Okay, that's perfect. The glue is actually what's going to hold it on, but the screws, here they are. These little itty tiny screws are so tiny. And usually what I do is I just poke a hole with a pokey tool. I do have a little tiny screwdriver. It goes right through very easily, you know, because it's just paper mache. But let me get my 3 little guys out. I actually have a little tiny shop hammer, and I'll probably use that to put those through. And then that's our little drawer pull on the front. Super cute. So here's our front, and you can see I didn't go quite through. There's just the tiniest little pop-up of those screws, but the pull is really secure because of the glue. This is 6 1/8 by 6 3/8, and then I've cut these 2 5/8 by 12 strips of my same paper. And I'm going to place this in here. Now there's lots of ways to do this. If you want to measure each side and cut, you can. I don't like to do that. I like to do this where I just glue the whole strip in, and I'll show you. I mean, this is how I've always done this, but you can do this any way you like. All right. So because these sides are slightly different, you want to make sure. I'm just going to take my bone folder, press that into the corner, and I'm going to line this up. It wants to go crooked, but we're not going to let it. See, line it up like this and then press it in with my bone folder. Hit that corner and lay it down. And it just looks really nice when it's done. So this one, we're going to start at the back and we're going to overlap a little bit. And I want to come right into this corner. Like this. All right. All right. Make sure I'm straight. We're going to start at the back. I refilled my glue press. I don't know if all of y'all have found this, but if you don't keep it more than half full, it seems to struggle. It just doesn't come out well and it clogs and you have to squeeze the handle really hard. So I have learned to keep mine more than half full at all times, and we get along really well that way. All right. Take my bone folder. I'm lining this up along the top so that it matches. And then I'm just pressing this into place with my bone folder. And then we just need to patch in one little piece here in the front. Yep, okay. All right, so there's the inside of our box. Now I want to cut our box front, and we're going to do this. I was going to do mitered corners, but I decided this is easier. This is from the 12 by 12 cover, and I cut it to 6 1/4 wide by 6 1/8 tall. And then I measured in to find the center. So I went 3 1/8 this way and made a mark, and I came down this way 3 and made a mark. And I'm gonna, then I die cut this little square frame. This is an old Spellbinders die, but I'm sure you have some square. You can see this is gonna fit over our window really well. And what it's gonna do is it's gonna hide my score tape for me, okay? So I want to center this up. I have some Post-it tape. And I've got a square die. This is just from a standard square die set. I'm going to put right into the center. And I'm going to put Post-it tape here. Make sure I'm straight. I look crooked. There we go. Got a little shift happen here. All right. I'm going to put Post-it tape here. And I'm just going to double check from corner to corner. This is a hair over an inch That's exactly 1 inch. So I think that's about as close as we're going to get to perfect. And I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine. And that's what it looks like. And I am really pleased with that. So now I'm going to put my adhesive on here and glue this down. And now I can take this piece and also glue it down. That's really pretty. I'm going to find some trim. I want to use some burlap trim around these edges and around here. I'm not going to worry about the sides as much, but on the top and on the front, I want to add some narrow So I've got my burlap trim, and I just want to show you how I'm doing these corners. I go straight. I've got my dry cleared glue down. I'm going to put a little glue right here in the corner, and then I'm just going to fold and go straight across, just like this. And press this into place. It helps if you have a paper towel because it likes to stick to your fingers. But see how pretty that is with that burlap? And then what I'm going to do is thread some vintage buttons and put them in the corners, and I think it's going to be really beautiful. But I just wanted you to see how I turned those corners. So I've added my buttons to the corners here, and I put a little bow. This one I did so that the raw ends met in the center. Put a little burlap bow and a little heart button. I also had to add another layer of cardboard. I used corrugate cardboard down here, you know, like those 12 by 13 sheets that they put in your packaging when you place an order. That's what I used down here, and I wrapped it. The corners are a little ugly. I went 8.5, go 9 by 9 to cover this on the bottom, and I just used patterned paper so we have a pretty edge all the way around. I've also covered the sides. These are 6 1/4 by 2 7/8 using patterned paper. This is turning out so pretty. So now we're going to go ahead and decorate the top. I put the legs on last because I want them, they have to set up. You cannot use hot glue to put those on. Hot glue will not hold. So you have to use something like Dry's Clear or Glossy Accents or some other glue that will hold for metals. This is a little piece of Rene Bouquet's laser cut, beautiful board that I'm going to put right here to cover up that score tape. And get a little schmooch on my acrylic, but it's going to dry clear, so I'm not going to worry about that. And then this is a really cool vintage button that I found in my stash. And I'm going to take a pop dot. I'm going to put this right here. Oh, and on this chipboard, for heaven's sake, I heat embossed it with a little Distress embossing powder, which is really old, but I had it in my stash and the colors were right, so I pulled them out. So this is going to sit right here in the center, just like that, okay? And that pop dot just kind of levels it out a little bit. Now down in this corner, I'm going to bring in our bee theme, and I took some burlap string. I just pulled this out of it's a panel of burlap that I had in my stash, and I just kind of wadded it together. I want to make a little resting place for for our beehive. This is the Rene Bouquet's beehive, which is one of my favorite things that she has in her shop. I love these. They're just, her bee elements are some of my favorites. All right, so that's going to go down there. I'm going to put a pop dot in the center, a little bit of hot glue to hold it in place. And these pop dots are from Button Farm Club. I love them. They're really good. They really hold. They're easy to work with. So here's our beehive. It's going to sit right here, just like that. And then I brought in one of her beautiful bees. And the shop, the Rene Bouquet shop, is on vacation right now. But I'll put links to these things so that I think they're coming back at the end of August. They took off all of June, July, and August. So I'll link once they're back. Now, I want to do a little floral cluster over here. And I went into my stash of Little Birdie Crafts. Basically finishes the outside of the box. All right, and I might sprinkle in some little beads and seeds or something like that, but this is really pretty. And you can load, I'll show you, I'm going to load the inside of my box and then I'll show you what I'm going to use. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and add my legs. Got a little stack of my distress inks. I'm going to put a folded up paper towel here, and then I'm going to tip my box upside down on that. These little feet, I think I got these at Butterbee Scraps way back a long time ago, and they're going to fit on each corner like this. And then you want to set this somewhere so that these can dry, because it does take a little bit. Now, I have painted these before. I've added metallic wax, but this time I think it's going to look great with them just exactly the way they are. So I'm going to fit these onto these corners, just kind of press them into place. And it's going to take a good 15-20 minutes to soft set that glue, but probably 24 hours for it to really truly be set. So I usually leave this sitting upside down overnight. Just going to turn this. You see that one already shifted, so I'm just going to press that back into place. All right, now these have screw holes. I never use the screw holes because we're not putting these on wood. All right, there we go. And the box feet actually cover up my corners that turned out ugly. Yours will be pretty because you're going to know to use 9x9. So you're just going to set this aside upside down so there's no pressure on those feet, and you're going to let that adhesive soft set for probably 30 minutes, and then you'll be able to work with your box again. We're finished. So in the box, I've put this little box of lemon and ginger tea bags, 2 packages of Biscoff cookies, some flower seeds, a little jar of honey, and this sweet little golden spoon, which is so stinking cute. So that's in there. And here's our cover with all our flowers added. I added some bows. I tucked in another little bee right here and a bee right here. And our feet are done. This slides in. Oh, and I also took, you know, the center that we cut out of this piece of paper, I adhered that inside the box. And I just put it down with my Dry's Clear adhesive, and then I put clear cellophane tape, some people call it Scotch tape, over the edges so that the drawer doesn't drag. So there's our little box. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little book to go inside. I had, from having been on the Graphic 45 team, I had a whole bunch of their pocket and tag albums left in my stash, which I love, except that I felt like they always put too many pages in. So I deconstructed mine. I took the spine out. I built a new spine, but I kept the little page sections that are in there. And these have like a pocket and a pocket, and they look like this. So this is 5.5 by 5.5. You can make one if you want to. And what I do when I cover these, I'll just show you very quickly, is I put my adhesive down on the front. And then I take a 12 by 12 piece and I go over about 1/2 inch on the front edge. Make sure I'm straight. That looks pretty good. Okay, sometimes the sections themselves are not straight. Then I put my adhesive on the back. And I just fold this over. So there's no adhesive in this center section. And then I just come in and I fold these end pieces in, and it gives you a nice finished edge on the sides. And then I just decorate the pages however I want to. And I'm going to do mine and then I'll show you what I've done. But that is basically our tutorial for our Wild Card Wednesday, which is a home decor item. I love this little box. I have a couple other little things I might toss in there just to make it really special and sweet. I love the concept. It's just a fun idea to give this little decorative box full of goodies, and then once the goodies are gone, they can keep it on their desk and put office supplies in it, or you could keep recipes in that drawer. You could keep all kinds of things. Spools of thread would be fantastic in there. You could put a couple of, you know, you could just fill the bottom with spools of thread. You could put ribbon, whatever. So there's our little book. And it just has the 3 pages. And I'll decorate this up on my own time. I probably am going to ink the edges just to cover any raw cardstock. It's funny, you think 5.5 inches is 5.5 inches is 5.5 inches, but depending on what tool is doing the measuring, 5.5 inches can be slightly less or slightly more. There's no, seems like there's no universal 5.5. That's always 5.5. But then just decorate this up. It's really fun, and it helps me use up all my scraps. So I'll be back in a minute to show you what I've done with this, and we'll finish up our little box. All right, y'all, this little book turned out so cute. I love these because they're pretty quick to make, but they're just a lovely gift all on their own. And when you put it in a box like this, you've got a really special gift to give someone. So I layered up my 6x6 papers on the cover along with fussy cut embellishments, a couple more flowers, and a beautiful vintage bee charm that I had in my stash, and a button, and I added some twine to this little tag. This first page is a flip page. So what I did was I took a 5.5 by 5.5 inch piece of my paper and then cut another 5.5 by 5.5, scored 1/2 inch on the edge, and tucked it back behind to make this little flap. On the front, I've got a little flip up element just made with some scraps. Inside, we've just got a little 4x4 photo mat, and then room over here for photo or journaling. This is the pocket page in the little insert, and I just cut a couple of, I think these are 3.5 by 3.5, yeah, photo mats to go in here. The hidden pocket, I cut a 10 by 5 inch panel of my cream cardstock, scored it in half at 5, and then lined it with my patterned papers. And then I put these little turn tabs in there, and this goes right in this pocket. This kinetic waterfall, I'll put a link in the description box below. You can watch a video to learn how to make this kinetic waterfall. So over here, this was a die cut circle, and I just layered up some papers here. Little turn page, another little cute flip with a 3x4, and then another little flip here. So super simple with these adorable papers from this collection. Don't forget to comment to be entered in the birthday giveaway. I'll announce the winner next Wednesday with our tag of the month for August, and I'll get your goodies shipped off to you. Remember, you must be in the continental US, and you must be a subscriber to my YouTube channel in order to win. So that's it for me, Kathy Clement, Kathy by Design. Happy Wildcard Wonderful Wednesday. Happy birthday to me. Thank you so much for stopping by and celebrating. And now go get your craft on. Bye.